Okay, I'm here talking about the QY-100. Here is a breakdown of the patterns mode. I may run out of memory. I cleared some stuff off, but my buddy and I have written an entire record into our QY-100s. We each have one, and I need to track some of that into a DAW so that I can clear it off. But so just to start with, I've got an initialized pattern here. And if you didn't see song mode, I'll show you by hitting song. I'm going to go over into the song side of things. The QY-100 is split into song and pattern mode. Those are the main sort of writing methods. And here you can see the tracks are 1 through 8 listed horizontally, and then there's 9 through 16 if you go to the next page. In pattern mode, it's actually listed vertically. Up there is the chord, so you can transpose your pattern in real time, which I know a lot of people are making a big deal about that with the OPZ, and it is cool, but QY-100 has been doing it since like whatever 2000. Actually, I'm not sure if the QY-300s had that. It might be even earlier. So anyways, I think they call it like fingered transposition or something like that. But I'll show you that later. So for now, I think it's just set to C major. I think that's how I normally have it set. It might be how it initializes. But we'll get to that later. The pattern mode is only 8 tracks. Song mode has 16 tracks, but 8's quite a lot when, in terms of instrumental music, or at least, fleshing out a song. So here, these also are named. There's D1, D2, and PC, presumably drum 1, drum 2, and percussion. Then there's BA for bass, and C1 through 4. I presume that's like chord, C for chord. But you can put any kind of instrument you wanted in there. So if you didn't want bass on it, or drums on a song, you could put another instrument in there. So to change the instruments, you actually hit pattern again and go to the mixer screen, which this is the exact same screen as the mixer screen on the song mode. So track 1 is set to drums. Notice all these dashes here means it's just set to the whatever comes default on the patch. But if you hit increment or type in, hold shift and push one of the buttons to type in a number and then hit enter, it'll jump to that preset. Let's see here. So we can just do we could do roller coaster instead of drum, or starship, which actually sounds like a reverse symbol. Kind of cool. Anyways, okay, so let's, yeah, there we go. I'll actually just put a regular drum kit back in here so I don't get distracted anymore. Okay, so I'm going to hit exit. I don't know if you saw that, but from the mixer screen, you can either hit pattern to go to the effects chain and then hit it one more time and you'll go back to that main screen that we started at. Or at any time, you can hit exit and it'll take you back out to this main screen. One thing that's good to know about moving back and forth between this screen is that this line right here is a sort of a dividing line, and you can actually jump above and below it holding shift and up. So right here is where you tell it which progression you want it to play, and if you're doing that and sort of playing along live, it's kind of sometimes can be cumbersome. Like if I wanted to play a sound that's in this slot here, to get to there from here is a long ways. That's like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's like 8 button presses. What you can actually do though is hold shift and push up and it'll jump to that top side of the screen and it goes to the last place that you're at. So if you highlight the pattern change area and then hit shift and down, you'll jump right down to wherever you were. So it's kind of like little shortcut to go back and forth. It's a lot faster, and it actually makes changing patterns and playing along with them feasible. Without that, probably wouldn't be super doable. It would be awesome if there was some shortcut to actually just change the patterns, and there may be, but I don't know it. So if you find it, please put it in the comments below. But okay, so let's do a little demo of what it's like to track in this thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave this intro set. We haven't talked about this yet, but you can go up to 8 measures in a pattern. You highlight that and then increment. So what's kind of crazy is, okay, you can do 8 measures, and then you could set the tempo to 60. And because there's 480 frames per beat, or frames per quarter note, I think it is, in the Yamaha sequencer, you still get quite a bit of resolution. So you can still play behind or ahead of the beat, if that's your thing. Even though you've turned the BPM down half, you don't lose very much resolution. I can still do quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, 32nd notes, triplet stuff, all in the same pattern, even though I've sort of cheated and doubled my pattern rather. So I'm going to put it on 1 measure, put it down to 60 beats per minute, and let's see about this. Okay, so sloppy. I like it. Okay. It's terrible. Okay, so tracked a little drums there. This is super sloppy. I kind of like that, but okay, yeah, we'll just pedal on the A there. Okay, and let's say the 60 BPM thing isn't working for us. Let's go to 120. So now the feel is really crazy. So maybe we wanted to quantize that. You can go menu, and then from the main composition screen, go to menu, job. And jobs are all the things like copying, clearing out a track, changing the name of the pattern, or the actual, they call them styles. Style is like the note information you've written for that section, for that track, if that makes sense. So let's say, and quantize is another one you can do. So let's do, we'll quantize to, oh yeah, so we've got whole note, half note, is that quarter note? There we go. All right, let's see. Let's get that bass reined in. I actually kind of like it, but let's straighten it out. Oop, too straight. So another thing that's cool about the QY is you can do an undo shortcut just by holding Shift and tapping that button right there, and it'll undo. You can get there also by going menu, job, and option 0. It's very top of the list is undo, redo. So it's only one level of undo. There's no like rolling back multiple stages, but it's still nice. Like, makes it really fast to work through something if you don't like. Let's see here. Let's do a, oh, no, never mind. If I want, let me do an overdub here, a percussion element. I will for sure have to do that a couple times. I really like the bongos, and I really like setting the velocity to random. Let's do that. So yeah, that's bad, right? So I'm gonna hold shift, and I'm gonna hit undo. And now I get to take another run at it. Alright, that's fine. So there's our intro for God knows what this song is. But now we can go work on our A section, which will probably need to be calmer. So I'm going to hit pattern again to go to my mixer screen and maybe pick out something a little more chill. Let's go, and I'm holding down shift and hitting increment to move through the different instruments. Holding shift moves me between categories, so synths, woodwinds, brass, that kind of stuff. I'm going to turn the volume down because I'm pretty sure the square lead, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, that's right, I have the random velocity on. So let's go ahead and put that back. I said I was going to calm down a little. Let me stick to that. Voice edit. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually want to... Let's find something... No. Oh, that's good. No. There's a synth vocal that I always use. I think it's under choral though. Well, we'll use this one. So crystal. Okay, so oh yeah, you have to be in the main screen in order to start recording. So hit record. And I didn't change this, so it's still just a 2-measure A section, which I would typically bump it up to 8, but we'll just do this for the sake of this walkthrough here. Let's do, where's that timpani at? Yeah, there we go. And I played a little too long, so you can hear as the pattern loops back around, I actually doubled up on the hi-hats. And you can see, so this is the edit view of the sort of just the straight list of the MIDI notes. And you get used to this, but basically it's a bunch of numbers, and the way it breaks down is measure and frame, or I forget what they call that, but it's like there's 480 ticks in a beat, or 480 frames in a beat. So you can see like this note 16 is almost on the 1 of the second beat of that measure. I said that wrong before. This column here is not measure, it's actually the beat of the measure. Up here you can see M001, that's the measure. So when I cross this line, I'm now in measure 2. So let's see. So 30 frames and 0 and 7 frames, like you can hear there's a... So that was me playing too much. So I'll move that. Looks like that was the last one. You can see it's interesting too because just like graphically you start to see these habits. I am very frequently ahead of the beat, but sometimes I'm rushing and also lagging, and it ends up being kind of cool, but most of the time it's not that cool. Let's see. Yeah, so I can overdub a little more. another kick there. Whoops, way behind. So I did the lower kick, and then the last one is the higher note. So let's do a little too twitchy there. Let's try that again. Yeah, it's a little... that hi-hat is a little loud still. Frequently I'll put hats on their own track just because the balance between the other elements and the hats it's hard to get right, and will change depending on the section. So you know, what else is competing for your ears at that frequency. But let's see here. Yeah, I hate all of that, but we are not writing a song right now. We're doing a video. So I'm going to go to show you guys just how to move between sections. So if I want to move to the next section, and go back to the other. So anyways, that is kind of more or less the workflow. You can also do step sequence stuff, which I showed a little bit in the other video, but let me do a quick little run of something here. Something I really like to do is quick walk up. Let me pick a different sound real quick. I'll do a quick walk up, like really fast run up to a high note, and then triplets to drop back down. Pretty much all I ever do. Let's see. There's a couple good lead sounds on this thing. One I really like. The saw is pretty good. We'll just go with that. Pretty Mega Man style. You also can't put the QI in mono mode while you're in pattern mode. I think you might need like an external hardware CC source in order to do that. And it wouldn't seem like a big deal because typically we're all worried about polyphony, but it's very difficult to play certain types of mono synth leads without poly mode. So just a different sort of thing you have to get used to. But let's see. Okay, so we're going to do step mode is the thing I said a minute ago. So to get there, I'm going to hit record, and before hitting play, where I would normally do to overdub, you hit record, and then you've got this little option there. If you hit the arrow to go over to step, and then hit enter to sort of check that box, moving the R over to there. Now, anytime you hit record and hit play, it'll take you to this step sequencing screen. And here you can change the sort of, here's your shortcut to which measure you're working on. There's the step, the length of the note, then the velocity, and I've got it set at full, but you can also do the random thing, and then gate. And let's do kind of a fast gate. I think it's like it looks like it's like 90 or 54, so pretty much only two options there. But let's do oh, I'm already doing. So I've deleted everything. The other thing that's cool about this is it's polyphonic, so you could go and then so now those steps, it's not going to sound right now, but let me play. So I just was able to write a little chord, which is pretty cool. Another thing you don't get, modern sequencers are super flexible, but often polyphony is hard to come by on some of the hardware sequencers today. Let's see, or the portable ones anyways. So we're going to hit record and play, go back to this step sequence mode. So as you can see, there's dashes and the little arrow. And every time I put in a note, it puts a little dot there to know that to let me know there's note information. And then there's delete, which you can do to delete the one you're currently on, back delete to jump back the amount that you have specified there. And then there's rest, and which will move the cursor forward the amount that you have set in step. And then there's tie to, actually I haven't tried that for runs and stuff to see if it'll do mono mode, but I'm pretty sure it just holds the note out longer. Let's try. So let's do a little run. I'm going to start out really fast and go low here. Oop. Do back delete. Let's stop right in the halfway point of the first measure. Now we're going to drop back down doing triplets. So we've got 32nd note there. I guess that's 16th note in triplets. So now not crazy about the B or the G. There we go. And then now let's try out that rest and the tie. Can I do that? Oh, okay, I see. So when you hit the button, oops. So all that's triplet stuff. Let's do an even slower triplet. Oop, okay, we started back over at the top of the measure. I don't know, let's see what that's like. So that's crazy, but I do really like that step sequencer. Like I mentioned in the song mode, I end up doing these weird runs that I wouldn't probably even consider doing when I'm sitting in front of a sort of 1632 grids sequencer or sitting in front of Ableton or whatever, because it's just, I don't know, just sort of what the tool suggests. So okay, so yeah, basically what I'll do is for like when I'm jamming and stuff like that, I'll typically just write something into a pattern, something like this, and then I can move through the patterns. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of how I work in pattern modes with the QY. There is a lot of menu skipping around. You have to dig in to get your settings all the way you want them, but once you learn the workflow, it's pretty it rewards you for that work because it is really fast to just sit down and start writing. So yeah, I don't know if that's answered any of your questions about whether or not you want a QY. If you see one for a reasonable amount, I'd say try it out. They're pretty dang cool. And you know, runs off 6 AA batteries. Is you get about 4 hours of battery life for that, and I think it's got 200 or something ROM sounds. You can't load your own sounds, but the sounds that are on there are certainly high quality because of the time frame that they came out. You know, like some of the strings and horns and stuff like that are not going to be super realistic, but I like that. I find that there's sort of a charm between there's like so bad it's good, and then there's approaching good, and sometimes when you're right to that point right before it's hyper realistic, it's actually not as good. And I feel like the QY is a good sort of splits the difference. It's not, the sounds are clearly not like when I'm playing the saxophone preset, it's clearly not a saxophone, but it's kind of in this way that it's its own thing, and I really like that. So yeah, I really love this little machine. I actually really like playing on the calculator buttons. I think they're quite pleasant. As you can see, can't stop doing it. But yeah, hopefully that's. Oh, you know what we didn't get to is the transposition stuff. So let me take you through that really quickly. So you turn on the. I haven't done this in a while, so I may stumble. But we're going to turn on the fingering mode. So that's on now, and I think if I play chords here, yeah, it'll change that. So let's do a C major 7. Can I do? Okay, there's just a C, so. So you can kind of move through the chord progressions. I haven't used it in a while, so this is not a very musical example. Sorry, that's amazing. It's kind of fun. That's one of my favorite presets, popcorn. So as you can hear, it's moving through the sort of different, it's transposing the patterns in real time, which is pretty cool. I don't typically tend to play using that, but I think it's a cool thing to have there. Okay, that is probably it, I promise. I'll do some more stuff, maybe talking about the actual sounds and how to sculpt the sounds to get something you like. That one will probably be short because there's really not much to it. But for now, this is just going to be, I think, a good start towards all of this. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments section, and you know, yeah, let me know if there's anything that I have stated that I don't know how to do that you know how to do. Please let me know, or if you have any questions, hit me up. So thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe if you like and want to subscribe. So talk to you later. Thank you. I always do an answering machine sign off. It's alright, it's fine. Alright, see you guys.